events that is currently taking place that humanity has just never seen before. And because we've never seen an event like this, we don't know how to interpret it. We don't know how to handle it. We don't know how to navigate it. And so today we're going to be talking about what that event is and essentially how we can best navigate through it. Now, I'm trying to implement a new part of live videos, which is a weekly message. So at the end of this video, I have a very short, very brief weekly message for all of you, something to keep in mind, something that intuitively came to my mind as a good little reminder, let's say. Okay, so we're going to be deep diving into past lives today, and probably past lives like you've never heard them before. And one of the reasons why this came through as one of the most important things to talk about in this moment is I briefly came across a woman's video on Instagram. And she was talking about how so many starseeds are choosing not to have children or just not having family at all. And back in the day, I used to think that. For a very long time, for most of my life, I thought I'm never going to have kids because they are going to karmically tie me to this planet. And because of that, I am going to be free and clear. I'm going to come here, I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to leave. And much later on, not too long ago, I made the huge realization of it is completely possible to be a human and have relations with other humans and not have any karmic ties with them. And so we're going to talk about how we can do that while we're living our lives. It's not about completely isolating ourselves from everyone we know and love or just choosing not to have children because of the potential of karmic ties. It's about learning how to do things in an upgraded and elevated vibration. So first of all, of course, like this video if you like this video so far. I know it's a little early. Share the video. That really helps with the algorithm, and it probably helps a lot of people who are struggling right now because past lifetimes are a huge reason why people are struggling and they don't even know it. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Once again, that just really helps with the algorithm. So I initially got my career started in past life regression. I think some of you know, a lot of you don't know, but when I was 16 years old and I was questioning everything, especially questioning my place and my purpose and just the reason for being here. It was my dad who ended up giving me my first ever past life regression, and it opened the floodgates of what is possible and what the truth is. And so since then, I thought that I could help enlighten the world by giving past life regressions. And so that's really where I got started, is within past lives. So I'm a huge believer in not just understanding ourselves in other lifetimes, but past life regression as a whole, I'm a really big believer in. And if you do want to get a past life regression, I do have a friend of mine who I get regressions done every once in a while, and she's incredible. So you can email us and we can send you her contact. So let's talk about why past lifetimes are being purged out right now, okay? And the biggest reason is solar flares. Now, the energy of a past lifetime is so deeply rooted, and typically past lifetimes tend to stick around when they're extremely traumatic. And when something is very traumatic, just like an early childhood memory, it will hang around us and it will lower our frequency because it's a very dense, obviously emotional and traumatizing energy. And so it hangs around, but it lowers us, okay? It's like any trauma. And so that hangs around our soul. Now, with these incoming solar flares, we are getting confronted with a high vibrational frequency, high electromagnetic energy, and that is prompting us to purge out our past lifetimes. And our past lifetimes are being purged out. It's all a part of the ascension so that we can essentially elevate to the next level. Of course, we cannot elevate to the next vibrational level if we are still being held down or weighted down by all of the trauma from past lifetimes. So what's really cool is There are people, really religious people all over the world who don't even believe in reincarnation, and yet they are also being prompted to purge out their past lifetimes as well. So what's great about past lifetime release and healing is you don't even need to know what past lifetime you're working on in order to clear it. I will say, when you do understand the past lifetime, things tend to resolve and clear very quickly. When you are not aware of what is going on or what's happening, or you don't have that sort of spiritual inkling to you, then you're just going to keep hitting the same wall. It could be the same health crisis. It could be attracting the same type of relationship, but with different people over and over and over again, or the control tendencies, or the attachments, or the emotional state, and on and on. And so when we repeat the same big challenges over and over, it's a good indication that that is related to a past lifetime that you're being prompted to clear. All right? So please keep that in mind. Yes, we can get a past life regression done, and I highly recommend it, but you can do all that work without even having to get a past life regression done. It just might take a little bit longer, okay? It also depends on how stubborn you are. I am very stubborn, so I need either a lot of challenges, a lot of lessons, or I just need the information to help me process what's happening. Okay, what else did I want to mention? So I do want to just mention too that karma is cause and effect, right? So karma itself is actually a universal law. So a lot of people think that karma only happens on planet Earth. Absolutely not. Karma is existing and happening all over the universe. It is a universal truth or a universal law, and it is the law of cause and effect. Now, what's really fascinating, what actually literally just came to me today when I was channeling this video, is that as we move from the third dimension density to the fourth dimension density to the fifth dimension density, we are actually stepping out of karma as the law of cause and effect. And that actually ends with the fourth dimension density. It doesn't mean that it no longer exists or that it goes away altogether. It just means that it exists in a different capacity in the fifth dimension and beyond. So in the fourth dimension plane and lower, you have the laws of polarity, okay? Polarity, which means that anything that we do has some sort of effect to it. When we get into the higher frequencies and the higher vibrations, it's not just black equals white and white equals black. It's like black equals grayscale, which could be an infinite number of different alterations. And it's the same thing in the higher frequencies. It's not as clear, it's not as polarizing, which in some regards makes it a lot easier to navigate, and in some regards makes it a lot more difficult to navigate. But what we need to realize is that karma, in the way that we have perceived it up until this point in time, is not going to exist at the same capacity. And it is going to get better, but we have to do the work in order for it to get better. Okay, so in order to move forward, in order to move upward into a higher plane of existence, it is imperative that we heal the past. I think you know this. And for me, when I look at my own life, specifically 2020 marks a deep, deep purging of past lifetimes. And then specifically this year, 2024, has marked some of the biggest challenges of my life, and they've all come through as past life related. So we're getting in a higher vibration, but we are also getting more challenged, and it's just a bunch of purging. Also remember that once you've done the work, once you've cleared a lot of trauma, you've healed a lot of old energies, then you get into brand new territory. And with that brand new territory, everything is different and everything is new. So maybe you're like, okay, I've got a choice in relationships. I'm dating this person and I'm dating this person. This is the person that I would usually date. This is the person that I would usually go for. Has that ever worked out for me? No. Okay, great. This person, I've never really dated this kind of person, never thought of myself with this kind of person, and it's really scary and awkward, but also exciting. And so I'm going to try that. So a big part of clearing your karma and your old traumatic ties is to make new choices. And as we make new choices, we enter into unforeseen and unknown territory. And what is our greatest fear as human beings? The fear of the unknown, of course, right? So stepping into a place of everything, every relationship, every dynamic, every choice being brand new, it's extremely scary and very exciting. And what the fear and the excitement bring is a hell of a lot of anxiety. So welcome to the club. If you're feeling anxious because you don't know how to navigate a situation, it's a really good sign. If you are changing jobs or changing relationships or changing living situations or locations, it's a really good sign that you're moving into uncharted territory, which is a good sign that you've actually cleared some of that stuff from your past. If you've noticed that you're still repeating old cycles and old lessons and you can't seem to get through it, try and ask yourself how you can make a different choice and once again change up the outcome. And then you clear the energy. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about karmic entanglement, all right? So this is sort of that initial thinking of, I have to cut cords with my family. I'm choosing not to have children because I don't want the karmic entanglement. I get it. And I think that some of the most challenging aspects of being human is dealing with other humans who don't have the responsibility or the accountability or the spirituality that you may have been accessing. So it gets messy. It really does. In coworker situations, in in-law situations, in neighborhood situations, it can get really messy really quickly. So here's what I recommend. Now, as always, take it or leave it. If it resonates with you, it's for you. If not, no big deal. Leave it and move on, okay? Here's my recommendation. In order to clear karmic ties with the people in your life, there does need to be a pause or a separation, okay? Now, this naturally tends to occur. Usually there's a big blow up, no one talks to each other for a period of time. That could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years, and that is totally okay, and it is totally needed. If you're all of a sudden feeling the urge or the need, or you get a dream of a person that you haven't talked to, it may be a good sign that there needs to be a reconnection, and sometimes that reconnection means a deepening into that relationship, and sometimes that reconnection is a validation of why you left in the first place, okay? But there usually needs to be some sort of energetic and physical separation with that person in order to clear the karma. And during that space, we can all take a look at ourselves and say, wow, this is where I went wrong. This is what I'm working on. Here are my attachments. Here are my projections. Here are my expectations, and so on. We do our own internal work during that period, or at least you would like to hope that people do. And then there can be a reconnection with the people as long as they've also shown up and done the work as well. So now we need to learn how to exist, right? So when you're together and it's toxic and they're projecting and you're projecting and there's old traumas and no one's talking about it and no one has the tools, then you're just spiraling in that relationship and dynamic. You choose to separate. Hopefully you're both doing your own work. And now you're like, I'm ready to reconnect with whoever it may be. Great, that's awesome. So how do we exist with other people in the highest possible vibration without creating new karma? This is like a 5D relationship status, okay? And this is with anyone in your life. And eventually, I'm hoping in this lifetime, we can all have 5D relationships. But right now, maybe it's with one person who really gets it. And maybe that's a friend of yours because there isn't that entanglement or entrenchment, or, it could be a financial obligation or a familial obligation. Usually it's easier to have lighthearted relationships with people you don't have as many obligations with because it's less messy, right? There are 3 ingredients to a healthy, 5th-dimensional, non-entangled relationship where, guess what? You get to be together, enjoy each other, and not create any sort of karma. That's possible. And I know that that's possible because I have that with my wife, which is pretty mind-blowing, okay? Like, I never thought I could actually be in a very entangled, in all of the possible ways, relationship while also like never carrying anything from the past over. I really didn't think it was possible. There are 3 things that are required in order to have that. 1, communication. I mean, we all know this, but we're not just talking about communication in relationships. We're talking about communication, or sorry, romantic relationships. We're talking about communication in every relationship. Communication. 2 is honesty. If you can't show up and be honest, if they can't show up and be honest, then you're never going to get anywhere, because that is like the basis of projection, right? And number 3 is responsibility. If you can't take responsibility for your own bullshit and they can't take responsibility for their part to play, you're never going to get anywhere. Now, of course, it's easy for all of us to show up and do the work on ourselves and go get very isolated and recluse and, be able to communicate, be able to show up and be honest and integral, be able to show up and take responsibility for your life. But to find someone else to do all 3 of those, it's tough. It really is. Like, other than this community, there aren't too many people who can really show up and unequivocally step into all 3 of those aspects. But once again, I'm hoping that with enough challenge, enough ego death, enough healing and clearing and all of that work, people around us can start being more open, more communicative, more honest, and really just more responsible overall. That's what is needed to have an unentangled, completely free, karmic-free relationship. So really just keeping that in mind. And like I said, it may not be realistic for all of your relationships right now, but hopefully you can start on one of those relationships and maybe send this video to the person that you have in mind for that relationship. That would be pretty cool. Okay. I do have a final message for everyone, but I really felt like it was important to talk about this. And just keep in mind, too, that as we go through and we purge out past lifetimes, like we're talking body issues, pains, weird like injuries that come up, or pains, like shooting pains in random areas of your body, weird rashes, like skin breaking out, what else? Like just really weird health issues are coming up from past lifetimes, and it's just coming up to purge. And then once again, freak accidents, random issues financially, random quote unquote issues in your personal life are all a part of purging out past lives. So a lot of the ascension symptoms are past life purges as well. It sort of all comes into play with all of that, including the anxiety and the sleepless nights and the wild dreams and all of that as well. So really hang in there. You're not alone. Now, just a couple of days ago, I channeled, well, really not me, but I spoke with the Galactic Federation and we talked about so many incredible topics. We talked about the 3 days of darkness and how that is more of a realistic timeline now than ever before. One of the questions I asked was, the Anunnaki, like, why can't the Anunnaki reproduce gold? Why would they have to come to our planet initially and mine it? And then also things like, what is Earth's biggest issue right now? Like, what's really happening? Like, from their perspective, what is Earth's biggest issue? Also, why do people go missing in national parks? And Alzheimer's, what creates Alzheimer's? Can we cure Alzheimer's? Like, what's going on with that? And so much more. So I asked some really riveting questions, and we got to everything on the 11th. So please check that out. That would be season 2023, episode 10. And yeah, it was pretty incredible. So go check that out. And then also this month on my website, I am dedicating all of my videos to starseeds. So one of the videos I have releasing is matrix work versus mission work. How do we balance the matrix and mission? And also twin flames. Do I believe in twin flames? What have I channeled about twin flames? Are you going to meet your twin flame? That's going to be the podcast for this month. So there's that and so much more content on the website. And once again, it's ad and censorship free. And the final message for today is, remember who you were so you can be all of yourself. And I'm going to repeat that. Remember who you were so you can be all of yourself. And I appreciate you guys so, so much. Thank you for being here, being part of the team. I am just so grateful I get to wake up and do this every single day. So keep up the good work. You are not just students, you are all masters and teachers, and the world needs you right now. But before you can show up for the world, you got to show up for yourself. Until next time, I will see all of you in the highest possible timeline. Bye for now.